So just recently I put a hitch on the John Deere and I liked it so much I went and found another hitch. This one's going to be for Clifford. This came off of Marketplace for $25. The one on the John Deere was Marketplace $25. I guess that's the going price. Anyway, my first step, I'm gonna cut here with a plasma, all four sides. Then we'll have two separate pieces. And probably this one, if we drill a hole, this can go on a whole different mower. Then we'd have 3 mowers with 2-inch receiver hitches. That's cool. It is time for cut number 1. Such a pretty cut. It takes 10 times longer to set it up than it does to cut through. Kind of hard to get a glove in there. Do not try this at home. All done. So here is Clifford, here is John. This is a look at John's hitch. I like it a lot. It turned out really good. It's a little bit too high for a trailer. The trailer squats when you hook it on there. This is a 7-inch drop. I need about a 12-inch drop so the trailer's not squatting. But as far as somebody riding back here, they're up high. If you go through deep water, they won't be getting wet. Anyway, on Clifford, I think I'm gonna put it a little bit lower, mostly because Clifford's lower already. I'm thinking maybe right there in line with these 2 holes. So all I have to do is drill 4 holes for my 4 bolts. I've already got the bolts and the washers, and then I got to cut a square for the hitch to go through, that part of the hitch. I guess the hardest part is going to be the part that goes behind here because I don't know what to use yet. I was just at Metal Supermarket today and didn't even think to get something to go back there. I did get these 3 pieces in case we want to make some kind of adapter or some kind of attachment. Some kind of, this goes up and down. You could put that in there, drill holes, and put a plow on that end, and you could lower the plow down, pick the plow up, or some kind of seed or some kind of scraper blade. I don't know yet. And this should plug right into the hitch. Like that. I need to show you a couple of other marketplace finds. I've got some shackles. This one is a hitch shackle. That's gonna look good once we get the hitch on, hanging in the back. That'll be really good. If the seat's not on, there's not a ball back there, that's gonna look good. And then I got these 2 shackles. I wish they were John Deere green because I have these 2 brackets that go on the bumper. They don't fit yet. Online they look bigger, in real life they're smaller. They will not fit John Deere's bumper, but I know we can customize them. We could either plasma cut this top lip off, or I could cut a groove here and slide that in. It just bolts on. And I've got 2 silver shackles. That'll be cool. 1 on each side. Once we clean that up a little bit, that's gonna look good on there. Probably just like that. I'm gonna do the one for the other side. And then tomorrow we'll bolt them on. I just hit the edge of these with the grinder and then I hit it with a wire wheel. Those look good. It is the next morning. I just went to the store. I got some black spray paints. And before we start, we should do a cold start with John and Clifford. John first, because once Clifford starts, you might not be able to hear John. John likes a little bit of choke. I had to pull Clifford in the shade. This is Florida. It's summertime. I don't want to work in the sun. Anyway, I've got to remove these 2 bolts. I've got to drill 4 holes. We got to cut a hole for the hitch to go into. And then we have to figure out what kind of metal goes back here. Probably a piece of angle iron. That's going to need 4 holes. This should be quick and easy. I've been gathering metals to go inside the frame for reinforcement. And this is probably too nice. We'll save it for something else. I've got lots of bed frame. We'll probably just use bed frame. Or this piece, we could cut a strip out of that, drill 4 holes. That'd be good to go. These 2 pieces were made for a hitch. 2 holes already line up. I could drill 2 holes. That would be good. That you'd have to drill 3 holes. The blade, I don't even know what it fits. I don't think I want to use the blade. The unistrut, the holes didn't line up. There's more bed frame. There's 4 holes, but they don't line up. That's a signpost. The holes didn't line up. And ideally, you would just use this because it's already got the holes. I'd have to trim a little off both edges. I could cut it straight across, but I want to save this for a different mower, make a hitch. Let me know which mower you think I should use this on. Not John Deere or Clifford, but there's got to be another mower that needs a 2-inch receiver hitch, so let me know what you think on that one. So I've decided to use this piece. I've traced out the holes from the hitch. I have to cut it off here, cut it off there. I'm gonna try to freehand this, plunge through these, see how it goes. My back bracket is done. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more. I'll paint it. I've got 4 washers. The only thing left to do now would be go drill 4 holes in the frame, cut a little square in the frame, and then bolt it in place. So that's about where I want the hole, and this time we're going to use the grinder and the drill. Another door has been successfully cut. The pulley's all excited thinking it's getting a new window. Anyway, these bolts have to come out. My next step, I'm going to put the hitch in place, mark 4 holes. We'll drill 4 holes. I have a little bit of paint to do, and then we're going to bolt it in place. Right there. The bad news is Tim Waltz sent me these reflectors. They're going to get covered up, but the good news is I got a couple more that we could put actually on the hitch. I've got this drill bit kit. It's brand new. They're sharp. Last time on the John Deere I used the Unibit. Let's try these sharp bits. Everything has been painted. While it was drying, I went to lunch. It should be dry by now. After lunch, I picked up some nuts, bolts, and washers. I got all the washers they had. Luckily, I have extra here. The back of the mower has been painted. The bumper holes have been painted. Now it's time for the fun part, putting it all together. Grade 8 with lock nut. So these were Marketplace. This was a car show. It was $5 for two. I didn't want to carry them around, but I didn't want to turn them down either. I went hunting the nuts to go with these bolts, and the nuts are welded onto the hitch. It's not the impact, but you gotta love a ratcheting wrench. I feel like this one's a lot more stout than the one on John Deere. No offense, John Deere. Let's give it the jump test. That is solid. Now it's almost time to be like playing with Legos and using your imagination. I got these pieces from Metal Supermarket. If we were to weld here, this piece, we could put a hole there, put some holes in this, and it would be adjustable. You could put scratchers down there for the garden, a little plow down there, a little blade down there. Or if we were to come out and go this way, if we come back far enough and put like a C channel, wide as a mower, when a mower breaks down, you could use this as a wrecker. You could pop an umbrella in there. That'd be a really good umbrella holder. Why don't you leave me some comments and help me think of something I should build for the back of this mower. Okay, comparing the heights of the hitches on the John Deere, the 7-inch drop, it's about 24 inches to where the trailer would sit. On Clifford, it's a lot more reasonable. That's about 16 inches to where the trailer would sit. That would probably work just right. I could take the trailer down to the sand, carry all my stuff down. That is a 2-inch ball, but we can still go see how level the trailer sits. It is not perfectly level, but it's a whole lot better than what John was. I'd say that's good enough. We'll take that down to the sand. This is what I came up with so far. There's Clifford tucked away in the privacy fence shed, and I want to go to the river, do a little swimming, a little playing, a little sand riding, but it's stormy that way, so I guess we'll go to the garage and make some kind of hitch attachment. That's the ramp compared to the front of Colonel Craftsman. That would fit on there easy. There's the ramp compared to the John Deere. That would fit, and I thought John Deere was my widest. Maybe that's in the back. Clifford might be wider than the John Deere. So I just measured. John Deere is about 38 inches wide in the front, and Clifford is about 42 1/4. And the ramp would fit Clifford. If Clifford's my widest mower, that ramp will work for any mower I own. I think the back must be wider. Let's do a back measurement. So John is 43 inches wide in the rear. Clifford is 42 inches wide in the rear, which is the same in the front, 42, 42, and then John was 38, 43. So wide in the back, skinny in the front, same. So I am starting to build a homemade wrecker hitch. This is a ramp to my big trailer. I rarely use my big trailer, and I've got another set of ramps for it. We can always unbolt this. I'm just gonna do 2 bolts here to hold it on. The good thing about it, it fits all my mowers, and it's lightweight aluminum. So then we go forward, and this part here is gonna be adjustable. There's a boat winch. We could take the boat winch to pull the mower, the front tires of the mower up onto the C channel. We can also use the winch to raise the front of the mower to drive home. My next step, I need to drill some holes in the vertical pieces. I need to do some welding here, some welding there, and then drill a hole there. Drill 2 holes here. This should be quick and easy. Then we need to find some rope and a hook, an eye bolt. I'm here in the shop, and there's always several projects going together. Right now you're watching the homemade wrecker hitch build. I'm also working on a throwing axe. There's a blade, there's multiple points. If you can't stick the blade, something should stick. That was cut out with my YESWELDER plasma cutter. I've had it about a year. I love it. It needed new consumables, so I emailed the company and they said, we'll send you some consumables. Would you also like to test a welder? Well, I have a Lincoln MIG welder. I love this. It came off Marketplace. It was $100. It was a steal. I've had it for years. I love it. But if they want to send me a welder to test, hey, I'll test it for them. So we're about to do an unboxing, see how this works, see how we like it. And it's not just a MIG welder. It does MIG, it does flux, it does TIG, it does stick, it does a lot. So we have to test out all those different functions. Maybe in this one, we'll just do a flux core test, see how we like it. And speaking of projects, this is my S10 V8 build project. I've got the engine, I've got a transmission. I want to reseal them and paint them, maybe put a cam. I don't know yet. This is coming soon. The interior it's ready to roll. As far as the interior goes, I just got to get the engine put together. Get the engine put in. I've already ran the engine. It runs good. I just want to make it right before I stick it in. Anyway, back to the welder. Let's get it out of the box. So this is kind of a crowded, packed out garage. I gotta do this unboxing in this little tiny corner over here, but I don't want to push the S10 out just to do an unboxing, so just hope you're not claustrophobic. So there's a certain dumpster I like to check occasionally, and sometimes you'll see really good stuff in there. Believe it or not, this welding cart was actually in the dumpster about the same time I got this welder, and I'm like, it's meant to be, let me grab it. So there's our used welding cart for our new welder. The box, I've already cut the tape, I've not pulled anything out yet. And here we go. It's a good looking machine. It is a 220. And that's all that's in the box except for this other box. The ground. Nice flexible stinger for hooking up to your gas. And here's our MIG torch. There's an adapter in case you want to do 110. Different rollers for different size wire. Of course, an instructions book. And welding wire. I thought I was going to have to run to the store before we could test it. More welding wire. They have thought of everything. This is going to be solid. Can't use it today. I don't have a tank. I have no gas. And then gasless flux cord wire. That's what I'm looking for. Feels very heavy duty. You guys want to come closer so you can see it better? Hang on a second. There's only one way that can go. That feels very secure. So for flux, we go to the positive ground. And then for flux core, we'll go to the negative side, give it a little twist. Cables are done. Welcome, metal artist. So we have in this secret compartment. This thing's a locker. We might could store our goodies in there and still have room for the spool. They did send some consumables. The rollers, looks like there's already a roller on there. We're going to try that one. So the machine is not on, it's not even plugged in. That goes like that. Then there's a washer. Oh, I see there's a keyway. A spring. And then a second washer. This is for your big spool, your 8-inch spool. Now I'm gonna plug it in and see if I can get that wire to come through here. We're about ready to go. We should be ready to weld now. Looks like we have the wrong roller. Let's change that out before we get started. Now we got to figure out how to do some settings and then do some testing. So far everything's been straightforward, simple, hooking up these leads, putting in the wire, all easy stuff. Now we're getting into, almost feels intimidating. There's 3 buttons, there's a big screen. Let's see, screen 7-inch LCD display. Number 2, this is your wire speed amperage control knob. Here's your wire speed. So onto the screen, we can select which process we want. We're gonna go with flux core. And what's neat, if you ever lose your book, you can go to question mark. And it's got the diagram. You have what everything is. 1 is a screen, 2 is the wire speed amp control knob, 3 and 4 home button. Press to immediately return to the main menu for mode selection. Control knobs, number 4. Number 5 is the help button. And number 6 is your voltage control knob. So it's got the book built into it. We're only on page 4 of 20. It literally has the whole book. Oh, question mark. So when you go to the book and when you want to get out of the book. All right, let's see if we can weld. Okay, my ventilation is on. I've got my gloves on, my shield on. I need to go get a long sleeve shirt on, but for now, it's just gonna be a test. And this feels very heavy duty. Feels professional. Ground is on, it opens wide enough to get a 2-inch piece of tube in it. Some ain't right. Okay, rookie mistake. I think I had the polarity wrong. Y'all should have said something. Anyway, let's try it again and maybe there'll be less splatter. So that was with the polarity wrong. That was the polarity right. Polarity wrong after grinder hit it. And then the polarity was right. I'm gonna go back and fill in maybe that little hole, and then we'll call this one done. I went back and did the sides that had the polarities wrong. This side needs to be cleaned up still. And then this side, it's better. I might put in the little triangular brace and then this joint is done. So it's basically dark and I am still out here. I got it mostly together. I need to clean it up, but I am done for tonight. In fact, we can go ahead and shut this baby down. I like it. Here with Hitch, I still need to put this angle bracket on, but this morning I've been drilling holes. I need to drill a hole to put the pin through here. I can't go in that far because then it's rubbing on the pulleys. So somewhere between there and about there, I don't know, maybe right in the middle. This is what the wrecker hitch is looking like. I'm liking it. I just had a little bit of a brainstorm. I was about to start drilling through this and this, but if we just drill through the small one, the bolt could go through here and sit on top of this. I like that idea. Save some drilling. Anyway, I've got these two holes drilled for the C channel. That bolt is in. This bolt is in. If we drill some holes in this, we should be ready to clean it up and paint it. There's a whole hiccup with how to mount the winch. That's gonna have to wait probably a few days. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and drill these holes. I'll show you the winch in just a minute, what I'm talking about. The homemade wrecker hitch is in place. It's in its lowest setting. If we roll it, it does not drag on the floor. That would probably, if you're out in the real world, it probably hit, you go through a hole, it would rub. Anyway, once we get the boat winch on, right where it is now is where you would load the mower. Then the boat winch, we would jack it up. Once you get past that hole, you could pin it. Then if you're at the river, you could drive back to the trailer, load it onto the trailer. Or if you're here, you could drive back to the garage with it. If you're in really, really rough terrain or in the mud, you could jack it up even more and then pin it and then drive home with it. And I'm thinking about using this screwdriver because that's one of those big fat Phillips heads. I rarely have a use for it other than stuff like this. And when I said the boat winch is giving me problems, usually you just drill 2 holes, bolt it on. But if we did that, that's going to interfere with this going inside of that tube. So that would not work. What I'm thinking, if we could find some 3-inch that would slide over top of the 2-inch, mount this to the 3-inch, put it on, take it off, put it on. You could make it short enough that you could still bolt it to the 3-inch, slide it on, and then still pin like this. That would work. So I gotta find a piece of 3-inch square tubing and some nuts, bolts, and washers. That's gonna be a trip to town. Maybe I'll clean up and paint it. While it's drying, we'll go get some nuts, bolts, and washers. Everything has been cleaned up and painted. I've got it sitting in front of the fan. Now it's time to run to the store and grab a handful of nuts, bolts, and washers. Everything should be dry by now. There's the nuts, bolts, and washers. So I'm gonna go find some wrenches and an impact. We'll get this put together. So I've got a nut in this wrench held in by a paper towel. I'm gonna reach way up in there. I just gotta get the wrench back on there and tighten it up. So Emily, that zero turn, Moto Mow, all 5 of these have been my yard art ever since I made that update video on all my mowers. Anyway, it's time to get them back to the privacy fence shed. If I can get it on there, it should pull easy. Repo number 1 is done. Let's go try for number 2. The OG pulling is on. The bumper went over. I even used a ratchet strap to hold it on this time. I'm gonna haul it to the garage, or to the privacy fence shed. So next on the list, I feel like John Deere is too heavy with all that bumper and winch and V-twin. And then Troy has a flat tire off the bead. So I've got Silver Bullet hooked up, strapped on, and ready to roll. That is pretty cool. So here's my car. I've got the trailer hooked up. I've got Clifford loaded. I'm gonna show you how easy it is to go to the river and have a picnic. Usually that is a big job, but Clifford has a hitch. We can use the trailer to get all the way to the sand. Let's roll. So I'm here at the river, bright and sunny, but kind of cloudy. Don't know when it'll start raining. Anyway, let's get the trailer unloaded and hooked to Clifford, and then we'll go down to the river and do our picnic. The tow vehicle is tucked away in the shade. I've got the trailer loaded. Speaking of shade, I've got shade, a chair, a seat for the back, a cooler, that's our picnic, and a change of clothes. I think I'll let the chains drag, the sand can polish them. It is lunchtime. I've got the TP set up. That's for shade, that's also for changing. And in the cooler, there's a Snickers bar, a couple drinks. Here we've got a leg and a thigh. I'm gonna eat that, and we'll dip in that water. After we ride a little bit, I might sit in that chair and take a nap in this shade. The good news, Clifford is back home. I had some locals on four-wheelers. They pulled the trailer back. They pulled Clifford back. We loaded on the trailer. I brought it home. More good news, the transmission's not broke. It is the homemade drive shaft, the lifted drive shaft that I built using the 110 welder. More good news, I've got a 220-volt welder. We can really weld it good next time, and that should be in the next episode. Next time we're testing YESWELDER, we'll be welding up that drive shaft. Appreciate you watching, and I'll try to get a shot of the drive shaft for you, just so you see what I'm talking about. This is where the weld broke. Now we have a 220-volt welder. That's what we need to fix on our next episode. When you spin, well, now it's looking fixed. Let me put it in gear. There it goes. So the shaft is spinning inside of this little collar. I need to weld that back together. That'll be in the next video when we test YESWELDER again. And if you're wondering why it broke, it's got the V-twin power, the super wide mud bugs. It had a person riding the back, and this makes like a plow when it gets into the sand. So I'm back in the shop with the YESWELDER and the Lincoln, and there's the plasma cutter. Anyway, I want to do a little quick test. I've got this little plate. This is from Metal Supermarket. We're going to do a Lincoln test here, a YESWELDER test there, maybe about a 1-inch test and a 1-inch test, just to see which one looks the best, which one has the least amount of splatter. I'm going to put Lincoln on its high setting, high 2, and this one I've got it on 3/16 because that's about 3/16. And this is just going to be a quick test. Right now it is 91 degrees. I'm going to turn the fan on wide open. By the time I get that jacket on, get the gloves on, it's going to feel like 900 degrees. Okay, the fan is on, my jacket's on. I put these gloves on my legs because the splatter burns when it goes through those pants. We're going to do YESWELDER first. YESWELDER. Now Lincoln is on, that's on high, it's on the second setting. That wasn't a very good test. We'll test it more in future videos. It's too hot to be testing today. Shout out to the guys that do that for a living. So this would be the YESWELDER side, that is the Lincoln side, Lincoln on the left. And you can look at the splatter there, that would be the combined splatter. The splatter looks about the same, maybe a little more with the Lincoln. Now let's clean them up and see what they look like. So this is how the two welds turned out. The Y is for YESWELDER, the L is for Lincoln. Lincoln is on the left. Anyway, they look about the same. I feel like this one has more heat. We'll flip it over and see what the penetration looks like. Looks like there might have been more heat coming through on the YESWELDER side versus the Lincoln side. So probably the best test for these, if you keep watching my channel, I'll be using welders in the future. I'll give you my thoughts long term, how do I like it? And right now we could compare something comparable in Lincoln to the DP200 from YESWELDER. And don't forget future videos where we test out the MIG, test out stick, we get what we need to try out TIG. This is my whole setup for now. This is to put it together, this is to take it apart, this is to put it together.